Can everyone hear me there? Thank God it works. Can you hear that annoying dinging sound also? I don't mean my computer making fan noise. I mean it goes like bang, bang. Like those bongy noises. Because you don't really need to hear them. I don't need to hear them. But I'm too lazy to turn off. So I'll deal with the bongy noises. Okay. Good. Can you all... So am I loud enough? Or am I too loud? Am I too quiet? Before we get too far into this, I don't want to drive everyone crazy here. I need to hear everything. Okay, how about the screen? Can you guys read both screens pretty well here? Like on the left and the right here. I could adjust the font on both of them if need be. I'm going to assume everything's good because I like to think everything's good. Left a little small. Wait. I think I can adjust this now. I just downloaded this yesterday because apparently C plus or not C plus plus Notepad plus plus isn't the cool hip thing that it used to be. So they were saying, oh, you gotta download Atom. Atom's the bomb. Atom's the best. So I have Atom. So I'm sure I can make the font bigger if I tried. There has to be a way to make the font bigger. I thought it'd be under... I should have done this before. I thought it'd be under text. Anyone use Atom know if you can make the font bigger? Oh, increase font size. I guess you can make it bigger. What was that? Control Shift Plus? Control Shift Plus equals? Oh. How about that? That big enough? Too big? Too big, too small? Perfect? Okay, awesome. So here is a well. I got to advertise this channel again. 'Cause I don't think I got enough people here. Come on, what's up with this? Oops. Element. Okay, I'm done now. Okay, so my name is Drevin. For those who may not know, yes, that is Drevin, as in heaven. It's not Dreven, so I know a lot of you people think it's Dreven. It's not how you pronounce it. Any hoozles. So I'm going to be going over basic stuff today as far as Ruby slash Lich scripting. It's going to be basic stuff. I'm not going to go over anything too advanced or fancy today. Also, keep in mind, I am not like an expert at this. I don't do this for a living. I just learned to code specifically for Gemstone via Ruby slash Lich because it was interesting to me. So I'm all self-taught. I ask questions. I look up stuff on the internet. I Google, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, some of you out there might be better at this than I am, and you're screaming, why are you doing it this way? It's wrong. But if it works for me, that's how I do it. So, you know, I'm not like the worst scripter in the world, but yeah, I'm sure I have room for improvement as well. But the nice thing about being a teacher is I just have to know more than you to technically be a teacher. So if I know more than you do, then I'm teaching you, right? Exactly. Dreven, exactly. Or I don't know why I have a J there, JT. It's Dreven, the D. Okay, anyways. So let's start with the basics here. So, you know, as if you, most programming languages, you have to learn this. Hello, world. The simple echo. When you're dealing with something you want to display text in a script in Ruby, anyways, you generally put it in quotes. So, like here, I want the game when I run this script, I want the game to echo back to me "Hello World," so I put it in quotes. It's not always like that, but for the most part, it is. So let's see if this works. Simple echo space quotes "Hello World." Now we go over here. I have named this script test. Let's see if it works now. Look at that. It says "Hello World." Yeah, it's simple, right? You can also do the same thing with respond. Now, respond's a little bit different. Where you see on the echo, it'll actually say the name of the script first, and then what it echoes back. But now, if you do it with respond, it will not have the name of the text. See right here, it just says "Hello World." Now, this could be helpful. You know, if you want like a little, if you're making like a nice, neat little menu for your script for when you run the script, you don't want to have to echo display the name of the script every time. That could be why you want to use respond instead of echo. But if it's like an error message, especially, you're going to want to have it echo so if it's error message, so you know what script is giving you the error message. Okay, so that's a simple, nice little echo there. It also comes in handy when you're echoing if you want to like troubleshoot what you're scripting. Now let's do the next simple thing. A variable. A variable basically just saves some information in a word in the script. So you know, I mean, let's say for example, whatever reason, you're going to have a long string all throughout your script. You're on you want to call back to this variable a lot, and you just name it to one thing. It's easier to recall that variable. For example, I mean, Lich already automatically tracks your character's name by doing something like you either use check name or char.name, blah blah blah. So for example, we can echo check name. Now this should echo back my character's name, which is Drevin. But let's just say, for example, it did not. Lich did not keep track of your character's name. So you want to say, okay, my character's name is Drevin. So now you're saying, okay, now the variable, which is right here, name, we have made that variable be equal to the word Drevin. And now let's run it again. Or, well, there's nothing to run. But now if we echo back our variable name, and there's Drevin again, because we made the variable name equal to Drevin. So now whenever I want to use that variable, call back that variable, I just have to use name instead of doing Drevin all the time. And it makes a lot more sense later, but that's just give you an idea of variable. Now, if you want a variable to equal a number, you don't put it in quotes. For example, 1. So then now let's echo back name, even though it's a number now. But now it's 1. So see, that's, oops, wrong script. There you go, 1. So it's just it's a number, it's a digit instead of a string. Okay, so variable echoing, pretty simple so far, right? Am I losing everyone? Are we still all here? Are y'all fall asleep already? Okay. So now let's do a simple if else statement. So what you could do now, let's say name equals Drevin. We're going back to this. Now let's say you had more than one character. For example, you have several characters, and you want a script to do something differently depending on what character you're on. So let's say we can do if check name equals Drevin. Now here's another thing I should go over. When you just use one equal sign, you are naming that variable with whatever's after equal. So for example, again, check name equals, this means check name equals Drevin. If you want to make a string comparison, you want to ask the script does this variable, is this variable equal to what I'm asking you to compare it to? That's when you do two equal signs. It's the same thing for when you're comparing two digits. If you want to see if the number 1 is equal to the number 1, for example, you'd use two equal signs. So if check name equals Dreven, we'll just do something simple. We'll echo back, this is Dreven. You do else, this is not Dreven. So when you make a if statement, you're putting a condition here that you want the script to check to see if it's true. In this case, if check name equals Dreven, then you put your block of code underneath it. And then you say, okay, if that's not true, that's what the else statement means. If this condition is not true, then run this. This is pretty simple. It says if check name is Dreven, just echo this is Dreven. If check name does not equals Dreven, then echo this is not Dreven. See if this works. Look at that. This is Dreven, because obviously I am Dreven. But now let's say I don't want it to equal Dreven. I'll have it equal Itino, my other character. You know, the guy who's trying to take over the second group over there. Now it should say this is not Dreven. See, this is not Dreven because our check name, obviously, our name here is not Itino, it is Dreven. So that's something rather simple you can do there for a simple if-else statement. There's also else-if statement. Now, what this means, like, if you, it goes, whenever you run an if-else statement, it goes in order. It'll first check if the first if statement is true. Then it'll go on to the next else-if. When you do an else-if, there's only one E in else. Don't ask me why. Then it goes to the next else-if statement, and the next else-if statement. It goes down the line until it gets to an else. An else or the end. You don't have to use an else statement in an if-else statement. You can use just an if, or just ifs and else-ifs. So else if check name equals Dreven, echo this is Dreven, for example. So now it's going to go through a line saying, okay, does check name equal Latino? If not, does check name equals Dreven? Else gets to this thing. Okay. Basic stuff. Echoes, responds, variables, if, else if. Boy, we're having fun tonight. Okay, now again, let's go back and say that Lich did not automatically keep track of your name. So let's say you wanted to find out the name of your character via a script. Let's just go with that. It's a nice simple script here to show how to use how to like grab information from text. Let's see what we do here. You do while this is a while loop. Oops. And basically what a while loop does is that it's going to keep doing this block of code over and over again until you tell it to stop. Now, why it looks like this, because line or get, I think it's Ruby, get is set up to like basically it gets all the codes, all the lines of information from the game. So every bit of line in the game is fed to a Lich script. That's what get does. And then you're just saying while line equals get. It's just line is basically the variable here. So line equals get, which is get means get all the information from the screen, the game. So now you do while line equals get, then you do if line equals this is a what you call it, a regex. I'll go over that in more detail later. But you can do while line equals what you do is get this information here, and you want to escape all this stuff, and you're going to have this be we'll just I'll just do stuff star for now. I'll go over regexes some other day. Now you're going to say, so this is saying while all the game lines are being fed to the script. As soon as it gets a line that looks like this, name colon, which is right here, name colon and race colon, then it's going to say whatever's in this whatever is in this spot is the variable we want, which is in this case our name. Then we do, for example, name equals $1. $1 is the first group. When you put something in parentheses like this, it's a group. So that's the first group. I don't know. I thought I closed this. Darn rivals. Anyways, and then when you get the information you want to break out of the while line equals get. When you break out of the while loop, you do break. That'll break out of it now. So let's see. Always end your while loops with an end, and always end your if statements with an end. So now let's see if this gets our name. Echo name, our variable. I guess not. I messed something up here. I don't. Oh, duh. Of course. I have to actually make the game actually enter the command info. Now, I'll go over this in a bit, but for now, I'll just put info. That tells the game, that tells the script to input the command info into the game. Then it's going to look for all the good stuff. Yeah, see? The script automatically inputted info into the game, and then it, obviously, and then it fed all the game lines from info to the script, and the script found a match of name colon, blah, blah, race colon, right here, and it found the name was Drevin. Our character's name is Drevin. Hallelujah! I did not know that. But now you guys know that. That is how that works. That is a simple while loop. Pretty simple. I like it. I like simple. Simple is good. So while I'm at it, I'll what a f put. It's put and f put. Basically, they're not quite the same thing. Put, like if you wanted to just put info, for example, you just put info and you run test. Now, for the most part, that works, especially for commands where you could run even when you're in cooldown or at round time or you're stunned or, you know, you're webbed, whatever, which you could do info, I'm pretty sure. Put, for most part, should be fine. It just, but the thing about a put command, it just does it once. It puts that command, info, for example, just once. So if you're stunned, like if you try to attack, but you're stunned or you're in round time or blah, 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 it's just going to attack once, no matter your conditions, and move on. So that's the bad thing about put. The nice thing about f put, which is short for force put, is that it'll keep entering that command until it is successful. So, but basically what fput does is, you know, when you do a command like attack and you get a response back saying something like you're in round time or you're stunned or you're webbed, for example, you know, it'll say those things. You're stunned, you're in round time, you're blah, blah. Fput looks for that. If it gets one of those error messages, it'll keep trying to enter that command until it gets a game response that is not you are stunned, you're around time, etc., and so forth and so on. So for the most part, that's fine. That works. However, so I mean, there are some situations, very, very rare, where the next game line has nothing to do with your game input. So, for example, look, I look right here, and you can see before that, before I looked, I looked in the screen, the game, before that, and look, for example, right here, the powerful look leaves Kolak. Now, let's say I looked, but before the game actually inputted my command and gave me the look, the powerful look leaves Kolak came first. So that could be a problem because if you're trying to attack, all the script looks for the very next game line. If the next game line is you're stunned or you're in round time, it tries again. If it's anything but that, some sort of message indicating you cannot make that move, it's going to move on. So that could be a problem, because what if that happens? I can't. It's very hard to replicate that happening because it happens so rarely. It's mostly when you're lagging. So, but let's say it is absolutely imperative. It is the most important thing in the world to you that you have your rune staff out before you go hunting, for example. Right? Let's just say that's a possibility, right? So if you do an F put get rune staff, most of the time it's gonna be fine, but those rare times where it's not fine because of the said error message I was talking about, then that's when you we could do a loop, for example. This would be excuse me. Why? This is called an until loop. Now, what an until loop does is it keeps executing the code block until, hence the until name, until the condition is met. So, for example, now, this is also another Ruby thing. You can either do check right for what's in your right hand. You can also do, what's it called? Game, is it game var? No. Boy, I'm out of practice. Oh, it's game object dot right hand. Game object dot right hand dot name, I think. We'll just stick to check right for now. It's a lot easier. So we could do echo check right, for example. So let's see what's in my right hand. There you go. Rune staff is in my right hand. So now let's say we need our rune staff in our right hand. So now we do until check right equals rune staff. So this means keep executing this block of code until this condition is met. So what you could do, when you do wait round time with a question mark like this, wait round time question mark, that means you're going to, if there's round time, it's going to wait until round time is over, and then it'll move on. So wait round time, then you can do F put get my rune staff. So very simple. Until our rune staff is in our right hand, we're going to wait round time, then F put get my rune staff. So let's see if this works. And look at that, just like magic. The script, I inputted the information into the script, and the script listened to me, and it got my rune staff. But now, see, since the rune staff's already in our right hand, the script should do nothing. See, the script did absolutely nothing because the condition has already been met when we ran the script. Isn't that amazing? You guys gotta admit that's pretty amazing. Okay. But let's say we run into some problems here. I mean, that's pretty simple. Just get my rune staff. But what if the rune staff is in your left hand? Look at that. I put it in my left hand. Now, what is the script going to do? What is the script going to do, guys? Can you figure it out? I can figure it out. Because I am very genius-like. Look at that. It's going to keep getting your rune staff because the check right, this condition can never be met because we already have our rune staff, but it's in our wrong hand. What to do? So here's what you do. Now we're going to make this a little bit more fancy. Not a lot more fancy, just a little bit. Like right now, we're on a 3 on the fanciest scale. We're going to move this up to a 4 on the fanciness scale. Okay. Now what we could do is say if check left equals rune staff, just input a simple swap. See, JT loves fancy. Everyone loves fancy. So if check left equals rune staff, just swap. Else, we're going to do what we did before. which is wait round time and get my rune staff. So let's see if this works now. Our rune staff is in our left hand. What's going to happen when we test this? Well, it's going to give us an error message because I messed up somewhere. And see, when you get an error like this, cause, trust me, I get a lot of errors. Right here where it says the number here, that's the line the error happened on. So it's going to, the error message is going to be on or near that line number. And when you use something like Atom or Notepad++, the line number is here on the side here. So see, the problem here is on line number 7, because expecting keyword end. Oh, because I'm a genius and I did not put the end for the if else statement. So the until has an end and the if else has an end. Now let's see what happens. See, it swapped. It knew the rune staff was in our left hand and it swapped it to our right hand because we are awesome. Now let's say if I stow the rune staff. I see it gets a rune staff. It is quite simply genius. This has to be the best script ever written, and it's only 8 lines of code. I mean, this is just amazing. Always get your rune staff in your hand. But now the question is, what if? I'm just saying, what if your rune staff is in your loot stack, but the loot stack is currently closed? And yes, JT is very impressed. He wouldn't lie to me. So now the question becomes, what if? I mean, really, what if? Let's say, so let's close my cloak. And I'm thinking, how do I want to show you guys how to do this? Get my cloak. Well, what you could do is do a while line equal, do a while loop. Let's see, get my rune staff. Oh, I thought I stowed that. Stow rune staff. Close my cloak. Get my rune staff. I see. Get what? So now what you can do here, we can do a while loop here. Remember I told you about a while loop, guys? Remember that? Remember that? While line equals get. Now if line equals get what? If line equals get what? Then do fpit open my, what is blah 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 user vars dot loot stack, right? Let's try it. Let's see, echo user vars dot loot stack. Nope. Is it capitalized user vars? Oh yeah, okay, it's capitalized. Okay, there you go. So you know when you do like your variables, your vars list, all those things listed there, you call them up by doing user vars, user and vars capitalized, and then whatever the name is. So if you want like loot stack, you do dot loot stack. There you go. So now, so if line equals get what? To open my user vars dot loot stack, for example, or whatever you want to call it, cloak, whatever. And then you can do fpit get, or not, actually just exit break else if line equals. See, you got to make sure you break out of your while loops if you want to be broken out of course. But let's say get open my cloak, get my rune staff, and you remove. So you remove is the other is, so if you do you remove, that's a successful rune staff grabation. Then you just break. You break out of the while loop. Okay, so now comes the important question here, people. I have my rune staff in my closed loot stack. Is this script going to be smart enough to realize I could not get my rune staff and then open my loot stack and then try to get my rune staff again. Is it going to happen, folks? Is it going to happen? I think it's going to happen. I think I'm wrong. What did I mess up on here now? Did I not save it? Is that the problem? Oh, yep. I was right. I just didn't actually save the script. Always make sure you save your script before you test it. Otherwise, all the changes you made won't actually, you know, be saved. So let's look what happened. I activated the test script. The script tried to get my rune staff. Get what? I couldn't find what you're talking about. So then the script opened my loot sack variable, which happens to be a cloak, and then it looped back to get my rune staff, and it was successful, and then it exited. Now let's go over all that and find out exactly why that worked. The first part here, again, we're recapping an until loop. Until your right hand, whatever's in your right hand is equal rune staff. So that is why the script exited, because it was successful in getting my rune staff in my right hand, therefore it exited. Now, first thing it did was to say, hey, is your rune staff in your left hand? No, it's not. So just skip on over to else, which says, get my rune staff. Now, the script tried to get rune staff, as you can see right here, but it was in a closed container. So that's why I entered this while loop. And it saw, it matched from the game, get what? Right here, get what? And the script said, wait a minute, nope. We got to do this block of code right here, which says open my user vars.lootsack. And that is exactly what it did. It opened my cloak, and then the break means, okay, break out of this loop, which is this while loop. So it broke out of this loop, so it ignores this. It not ignores it, but it's done with this while loop. Okay, so it reached the end. All these ends. Okay, we have to start from the beginning again, our until loop again, because this condition has not yet been made, and so it ran through everything again. Is my rune staff in my left hand? Of course not. We've established that. But you know, it's a script. It does what it does. So it looked at that, said, nope, that's not true. Let's move on. So then it said, get my rune staff. And now try that again. And it got the rune staff. And then it matched else if right here, else if line equals you remove, right here, you remove, it made that match all by itself. It is technically smarter than toddler at this moment. No hate to toddlers. And it made that match and said, okay, we're done here. And it just broke out of this while loop. And then it ended all, and it started all over again and said, wait a minute. This condition has now been met. So this script is done. And that is my thesis for why I am the greatest human being to ever live. Thank you and God bless. But no, seriously, so that's a nice, simple little script there. I have now taught you how to do an until loop, a while loop. I, touched on variables, echoes, and response. It occurs to me that I might have glossed over one thing about when you're doing variables. That when you want to call the variable, a string anyways, well, any variable I should say. Yes, yeah, any variable. Like right here, I put open my user vars.lootsack. You have to, if you want to call a variable, you have to enclose it in curly brackets and start with a pound sign here. So pound, open curly bracket, user vars.lootsack in curly bracket. So I forgot to mention that, but that's how you call a variable. Okay, is anyone out there still awake? Do we have any questions yet? I will now field questions for 15 seconds. So let's get these questions rolling here. I'm a very busy man here. Time is money. Time is money, friend. Time is money, friend. No questions at all? There's gotta be a question out there. I mean, am I just that fantastic of a teacher that you guys have oh, there we go. You have a line that will check if a person is a room with me you could share. I don't know about a person is a room, but you mean is in a room? Like, what do you mean exactly? You mean you want to, for example, see if Drevin is in the room with you, and if it is, you want to, like, is it a room, man? So, for example, you're asking, just an example, you want to have the script see if Drevin is in the room with you, and if he is, you, like, wave at him, just for example. Is that what you mean? Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Let's see. Very simple. This is a bit more advanced, people. This is some groundbreaking stuff we are going over right now. Not really, but yeah. This is called game objects. This is Ruby takes not Ruby. Lich has all sorts of variables built into its mega script as a default because Lich is awesome. So I'll go over this more in a different video because I was trying to keep things simple for now. But just give a Drumple's 420 there, a simple little script here. I will show you, for example. So it's called game objects. You do game, capitalized game, obj, capitalized O. You do game objects dot PCs. That's going to check for all PCs in the room with you. So game objects dot PCs. That's a list of all PCs in the room with you. So, for example, you want to see if Drevin's in the room with you. You go game or I'll do Tino since I'm testing with Drevin. Game objects dot PCs dot any, right? Oh no, I know. If game don't capitalize if game object dot PCs dot it was Drevin or no Tino. If wave Tino. Is this how it works? Boy, it's been a while. I'm really rusty to see this works. Nope, I guess not. Or the find. Is it find? Is it find? No, no, no. I'm on my own here. Nope, not find. Trying to remember how to do this. If game objects dot PCs, I guess we're dot any. Oh, PCs dot any. Well, I'll just do it a different way. Cause I forgot how to do it with any. Oh. How about a variable? We'll do like itino here equals game object dot PCs dot find. Oh, I remember this. Yeah, okay. Game object dot PCs dot find PC dot name equals itino. I think this is a F. I remember how to do this first. There we go. Let's make sure I did this right. Let's put a different name here. Oh, but Dravnib is here. I was making him leave. How about that? Get out of here, Dravnib. Okay, there you go. Okay, so now I will explain how this works for those who may not know. So again, GameObjects.PCs just basically is a list of all PCs currently in the room with you. So what I did is I set up a variable to equal. Okay, so when you do this .find, .find looks at the variable, in this case, GameObject.PCs, to make the match here. So you do it. So this is basically a line of code you're executing inside the curly brackets, and you're saying just for basically what this script does right here. When you do this right here, you have these pipe symbols. You can make this variable anything right here. It's just a temporary variable. I just named it PC. You can make it I or T or whatever, PC. I made a PC. So what you're saying is you get a list of all the characters in the room with you right now. In this case, there's quite a few. And you're making this block of code. So you're saying, okay, for example, feed me the name Fulvis to this script. And for now, for the remainder of this script, the script is going to refer to that name, that variable as PC. So now it's saying, okay, does the PC that name? You should do noun, I think, because name. I think name, like does their full name. So if their name is like Grand Lord Dreven, it'll look for Grand Lord. If you just do noun, it'll just do just their name, Dreven. So anyways, it says, okay, does their noun equal? Is their noun equal to Itino? If no, then it doesn't do anything. But if it does equal Itino, which it does, because Itino is in the room with us, as you can see, then it says, okay, then Itino, the variable Itino here now equals Itino. So the Itino here variable has a value. Now what I did here is that if, when you do like this, when you do something like this, like if Itino here, all you're doing is looking to see if this variable has a value. And it does, because we made it equal Itino with this bit of code here. So now I'm saying, okay, if Itino has a value, which will only have a value if this block of code found Itino, then fput wave Itino. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question? I know it took me probably longer than it should have, but, you know, I think it's pretty awesome. I have nailed Drupal's 420 question because I am pretty awesome. That's just the way I roll. Now I can do another little loop here, a simple. I'll do one more loop here, because I know how much you guys love loops. Do you guys have a suggestion for a simple script I can throw together real quick before I finish, or? Not really. While you guys think of that, I'll do a simple script here. So let's say if you want to wave back at someone who waves at you, do this while line equals get. If line equals, let's say I have Itino wave at Dreven. So you do Itino waves to you. You know, I'll do this at a different time because, like I said, this goes into regex. I think I'll do save a regex for a different day. That'll be a different script. That gets a little bit more involved than what we're doing today. You mean like if you're have any wounds at all, Drumples? What do you mean? Like any wounds at all? It checks and says, "Hey, you're wounded. Go get fixed." Okay. Yeah, why? Now that is again something that Lich is mostly taking care of. I forget all the ones off the top of my head. I wish my guys had an injury I could show you, but they don't because they're just too awesome for that. Why not? I can I wonder if I can give myself a wound. Not to my knowledge. Anyways, we could do what is it? If what is it like? I think it's left. I think it's like, for example, do left L hand dot wound greater than 0. Echo I am wounded. Is that what it is? Nope, apparently not. I thought it was L hand. Oh, I think it's wound dot L hand. I mean, that's what it is. Wound dot L hand. No. Is it not wound? Have I been led astray? Let's check my other scripts here. My hunting script. My personal hunting script. It's my hunting script. It's wounds. I forgot an S. Okay. So it's if wounds.lhand greater than 0. Alright. What? Did I or did I not just check that out? Was it L-hand wounds? Wound. Oh, it's capitalized W also. Boy, I'm really good at this. Capitalize. Yeesh. There we go. Woof. I got it. So if wounds, and the 0 means how, what rank the wound is. So rank 0 obviously not ranked at all. Rank 1, rank 1 wound, rank 2 wound, rank 3 wound. So you can have it either do it equals like you only concerned if it equals only rank 1, for example, or only rank 2, only rank 3, or if you just want like a severity of wound. If you remember your grade school greater than equals, you could do if wound is greater than 0, so any wound at all on your left hand, it'll do whatever, or it's greater than a minor wound. So it's at least a rank 2 wound. You could do greater than 1, for example. You'd have to do, to my knowledge, I don't know of a simpler way, you have to go through all the wounds. So if wounds that L hand greater than 1, right hand greater than 1, right leg, left leg, chest, abs, it's all pretty self-explanatory. It's L hand, R hand, L leg, R leg, L arm, L leg. I forget if it's abs or ab. I think it's abs, chest, etc., etc. I don't think there's a simpler way. But you don't have to make a different if and statement. You just do if wounds.l hand greater than 1 or wounds.r hand greater than 0 or whatever. You do like that. When you do a two pipe symbols like that, you're saying, if this value is true, or this value is true, or this value is true, R leg, or you just write out, or or you could write out or. You don't have to use two pipe symbols. There's sometimes you want to actually use the word or. Sometimes you want to use two pipe symbols. For the most part, it doesn't matter. For the most part, I'm not going to say it never matters. For the most part, though. I think it's also percent health. You want to see how much percent health you're missing. So I do if percent health equals 100%. I want her to say I am great. Right? I do it. Yep, see. So if percent health equals 100 or 90 or greater than 90 or less than 100, blah, 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 etc., etc., etc. I wish my guy would actually wounded. I could actually show how to heal, but my guys are not wounded because I'm just too darn perfect for that. Too darn perfect to be wounded. I know it sucks being as awesome as I am, but it's a burden I have to bear. Here you go. I will entertain one more question, then I think this little introduction to scripting will be all over. Any other questions, comments, statements? A voice hisses from the shadows. The elections are a farce. We run this town. The queen does not own this land. Where is your future mayor to protect you from us now? We are owed something from Hibbets, and we will get it at the cost of life and limb. You betcha, zombie soul. Did you learn something, zombie soul? Did you learn something or not really? Was it going too fast, too slow? Was this stuff you already knew? You're probably like, I already knew all that stuff, Dreven. I knew all about if else statements and echoes and respawns and variables and whatnot. Ah, I see how it is, Zombie Soul. Ah, I see how it is. I kind of knew it and forgot it about 100 times now, personally. I get it. I get it. Yeah, I think that's probably going to wrap up this video. I'm going to do another video in the future, obviously. I'm going to do more videos, but well, this was just an introduction for people who might not know much about scripting or people who just want to listen to my sweet, soothing voice. You know, I can't blame you either way. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you all next time. If I remember how to stop streaming. I remembered.